Today we have with us President-elect Yolanda Muckle talking about her initiatives when she becomes president in October, and interviewing her is Shamika Price from Prince George's County Association of Realtors. And I will turn it over to you now, Shamika. Thank you.
Good morning, and thanks for that introduction, Dan. Yolanda, it's so nice to have you here with us today. And we're super excited for your leadership in the upcoming year. In the interest of time, I'm going to go straight into questions because I know you have a lot to share with us today. So, Yolanda, you've proven to be a successful realtor, but real estate wasn't your first career. How did you get into real estate?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I'm so excited, Shamika, that you're the one interviewing me. So I'd like to share, my background is media and in communications. That's my first love. I actually was working at WSA Channel 9 and decided, you know what, let's see what the next part of my life will be after I had our first child, Michelle. So I had Michelle. I love my career, but the commute to drive back and forth from Bowie, Maryland to DC Northwest just got to be a grind, especially with, a toddler. So at that point, I literally went to my company and said, I'd like to do a job share. I like to work here part-time. And they looked at me like to say, part-time account executive? We don't think so. So I then proceeded to figure out, okay, I need to convince them as to why this makes sense. So I literally put together a PowerPoint proposal in which I had done all my investigation that it was possible. Most people, as far as when they think of sales and working from home, it's usually pharmaceutical. So I put together this whole PowerPoint presentation as to why they should allow me to work part-time. I said, I'll give up half of my salary, my commission, just allow me to work part-time. Well, I was able to convince them to let me literally work 3 days a week. And they brought in a partner for me from Gannett Corporate, and she worked as well. So literally I worked 3 days a week, she worked 3 days a week. And on Wednesdays is when we would see each other. Well, that literally lasted about 6 months because working in DC top 10 market, she said to me, I can't imagine how you're able to do this. But what it did allow me during that 6 months was to actually figure out, okay, I can get my real estate license. So that's when I made that decision to get my real estate license during those 6 months. So that's how I literally got started in real estate. I was dual career, and I decided at some point I will leave corporate America, leave the television media business, and go into real estate full time.
Now, Yolanda, what year was this? What year?
That was 2003.
So you've been in real estate what's this, about 20 years now? 20?
Yes. So I got my real estate license in 2003, and Michelle was 2 years old. However, I did not make the decision to go full-time real estate until after our daughter Madison was born. So Madison was born in 2004. So I was working full-time at Channel 9 from 2003 up until 2007. And really just doing real estate on the side. I mean, I wouldn't even say doing it on the side because I really wasn't doing anything. I mean, I was pretty much holding a real estate license, paying dues. And at some point, the reality was, okay, you're paying more in dues than actually making in the real estate business. So I really made the decision in 2006. I said, okay, either you're going to go full-time real estate or you're just going to stay in this business. And ultimately, I decided in 2006, okay, you need to go hard. And that's when I went and said, okay, I'm leaving. I literally went into my office at Channel 9 and I said, I've made a decision. And my manager looked at me and was like, and what is that exactly? I said, I'm going to be a realtor full-time. And he proceeded to look at me and thought that I had really lost my mind. He thought, okay, maybe you're stressed out. Maybe it's because you have the toddlers. I mean, like, what are you talking about? And they really didn't think I was serious. I mean, I went on vacation and they had a newspaper I forgot, they had written me up in, I believe it was the Washington Times, because I literally was at that point in 2006, really actually working in real estate to figure out, okay, can I really do this? And they wrote me up as one of these like up and coming professionals, whatever. And when I got back from vacation, literally they said to me, you were in the paper as a realtor. Like, what is this about? And I had said, I am planning to leave. And I said that I was leaving. Well, I attempted to turn in my resignation. They said they were looking for people. And August went by, September went by, October, November. I didn't see anybody that looked like they were interviewing because I had a heavy list. I mean, I handle accounts like America's Best, Macy's, LA Fitness, all of these big companies. And they would need to at least have me come in and sit down with whoever. And at some point, I just said, look, I am leaving at the end of December. And that's when they realized, okay, she's really serious. So in January 2007, I became a full-time realtor and walked away from Channel 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how it happened. And then 2008, here comes baby Muckle number 3. So at that point, it's like, okay, I mean, it was divine basically to not have that stress on me, to have a third child and then still try to work the full-time job.
Yeah. Your start sounds a lot like most realtors. We get in and we kind of take one step in and then we think, oh, okay, we can do this. It's going to be easy coasting through. We can do a multitude of things at the same time. And then you realize you cannot work these 2 full-time jobs and be successful. It's a heavy load.
Right.
And so when you decided to take this full-time leap into real estate, how long after did you decide to become involved, like on the local association level, like, or joining committees and doing other things within the industry? How long did that take?
That's interesting you asked that question, Jamika, because honestly, my first thought was, okay, I've been successful in the media industry. I've been successful selling radio advertising. I've been successful selling television. I need to be successful in selling real estate. So I didn't immediately become involved. I actually went to Hobbs Herder, which was an ad agency back in the day at the time, and said, okay, I need to invest in that for a media presence so that at least it can appear as though I'm successful, even if I'm not necessarily selling anything. So it's funny because Mike Graziano, who's of course, the in charge of Prince George's, our AE, he said he would see all these ads and things out there and bus shelters and like, who is Yolanda Muckle? Because I was literally doing nothing on the local level. And so it's always someone has to tap you on the shoulder to say, become involved. And that person was Casey Lewis. And Casey attended my church, Largo Community Church, and said, Yolanda, had you thought about joining the Leadership Academy for Maryland Realtors? And I said, no, I mean, like, really, what is that? Pretty much, because I was not really involved. And she told me I got involved with the Maryland Leadership Academy, and at that point, wow, you need to become involved. So that's when, and that was in 2008, because actually Christopher was born in 2008. He was the Leadership Academy babe, because I started the class in 2007. Now, remember, I said in January, I became a full-time realtor, okay? In October of 2007 is when I started the Leadership Academy. Little did I know or anybody else know that as we would progress, I started gaining weight. And it was obvious it wasn't from eating, because I do love to eat, but, so at that point, it was like, okay, I am not going to miss any of these classes, because anybody who gets involved with the Leadership Academy knows if you miss a class, you don't graduate that year. So I got through, graduated in April, and it was obvious I was going to have a baby in June. And Linda Simpson, a former president for Prince George's Association of Realtors, came up to me at graduation and said, Yolanda, we need you to get involved. And I looked at her and said, I'll be having another baby in 2 months. Catch me like next year, pretty much. So the next year she came back and I'm like, well, he is born now, but he's only one. So I felt like, okay, I do need to get involved. So I actually got involved with local and the state at the same time and figured, let me get involved in something that I at least know and love. And that was the communications committee. So I got involved in 2009 in both the communications on the state level and on the local level. And Iona Harrison, a past president, well, actually former president, since we say former president, she gave me the Shining Star Award in 2009 for Maryland Realtors. So of course, all of these people at that point are like, we need you to get involved. I had no idea what the Shining Star Award was even about. All I knew at the time was I was told, you need to come to the annual conference in Ocean City. And I looked like to say, I've never been to Ocean City. I certainly don't like bridges. I'm not going to drive across the bridge. So I don't really think that's going to happen. And I have a baby that's like 13 months old. Craig, my husband, was like, I will drive you across the bridge. If they're telling you you need to come to the conference, we will be there. So we drove across the bridge. He took me to the conference. Iona Harrison presented me the Shining Star Award, and the rest is history.
Wow.
At that point.
Yeah. It sounds like you had such great support. You had a lot of people tapping you on your shoulders. You had Craig pushing you over that, driving you over that bridge.
Yes.
Yeah, so that you can, move right into your leadership roles. So, and much like those people push you, I see you around and you do the same thing to others. So you are true and passionate about becoming involved in association on the local and state and national level. So
yes.
Would you please share with me, what are the benefits of a realtor, or what are the benefits of becoming involved on the local, state, or national level?
Okay. For me, I feel as though you're not truly successful unless you're giving back to the community, whatever your career is, and helping others move up. I mean, I get so much joy out of tapping others on the shoulder and saying, hey, and I know you're smiling at me because you know I've tapped you. Basically saying, okay, it is possible. You can network with people, you become friends with people. I mean, it's not even about like just your referral business. My gosh, I get referrals from all over the country, around the country, because of my involvement. The National Association of Realtors has a leadership academy that I'm a graduate of 2017. And we're friends. We talk, we look forward to each other, we follow each other, and we give each other referrals. So to me, that's the benefit. You actually meet people and develop very strong bonds and relationships.
Yeah. I know that I attended the Maryland Leadership Academy, and I could say that really propelled my career. So would you say that just becoming involved is a great benefit to one's career by way of all the affiliations you get, all the new relationships and all the things you learn? I know there's a wealth of resources and tools out there. So what is that one main thing that you think you benefited from?
I would say the relationships that I have developed throughout my career by being involved. I look at my class of 2008, and we literally are still connected. I mean, I know you're like, obviously, you connect with people, and you just, when you see people, you're like, wow, we're the class of whatever. And I would say that is the biggest benefit to me, the connections that I have. I mean, it's almost like, a college or university or whatever, you just get connected with people. And that's the true benefit to me. And I also want to be an example. So when people say, oh, I'm too busy, I got this going on, I got that going on, and then they think about my story, I'm like, well, first of all, I was a dual career agent, had 1, 2, 3 children. I mean, hello, if I was able to do it. I mean, and the youngest just turned 14 the other day. Like, you have no excuse, is how I see it. Like, don't tell me that you're so busy that you can't give some of your time back.
The true meaning of lead by example. That you have.
Yes.
So yeah, we thank you for that. So now you've served as the president of the Prince George's County Association of Realtors, and now you're about to become the president of the Maryland Realtors. So what lessons did you learn while serving at the Prince George's County Association of Realtors that you want to take into your leadership role here at Maryland Realtors?
Well, if some of you may remember, I started as the president in 2019 and then became the pandemic president in 2020. So with that being said, what I want to take is the fact that you can shift. You can still be successful and figure out a way to still engage with your members, with the public, despite what obstacles may come up. And I would say that's the biggest takeaway, where I would have some people say, oh, I'm so sorry that you're the president during this pandemic and this happened to you and that sort of thing. And I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity to figure out another way of doing business. So that's the biggest takeaway that I have, where I didn't look at it as, oh, woe is me, this happened kind of thing. Excuse me for a second. I thought I unplugged the phone.
You're busy. You know, real estate doesn't stop. So
excuse me for a second. I literally thought I unplugged the phone. No, guess not.
That's fine.
So
we know you're
that's the biggest thing. So that's the biggest takeaway, that I would say being a president during basically the pandemic that continued, and as you know, you continue to be the pandemic president as well, that look at other opportunities, look at how you still can be successful despite the obstacles that may have been thrown in your way.
Right. I want to say you did a great job, you know, fearing through the pandemic. I mean, like,
well, thank you.
We had a new normal and we're still getting through that now, pretty much, you know, but you continue to lead, you continue to offer the association lots of tools, resources. We went virtual and it was like we were all present and we had a great turnout. And I believe most of that was because of our leadership. So I want to thank you for that as well.
You should make that.
Yeah, well deserved. So what are some of the initiatives that you'd like to explore as Maryland Realtors' 75th president?
I know, it's funny because I looked at that and I was like, oh, I want to be the 75th president. I felt like this is like when, I don't know, Queen Elizabeth, they just did this whole 70th Jubilee. I was like, 75th year, that's a special year. So I felt we need to do something that's big and memorable. As the president, you're the president for a year. And with that being said, everyone has their own initiatives, but I wanted to really do something that can continue on and on and on for years to come. So the Maryland Homeownership Expo is what I want to have as my signature initiative. And the reason why I really want to do this is because we have the MarylandHomeownership.com website that has a wealth of information. It's the community site. It's for consumers. It has information for buyers, sellers, why use a realtor. And honestly, we have a lot of members who have no idea of what that site has to offer, let alone the consumers. So with the Maryland Homeownership Expo, we can involve nonprofits and lenders and realtors and actually get out into the community, because I had a person from the public call me recently and they needed help. They literally looked on the website for Maryland Realtors and said, "You're the president-elect. I have an issue." And they called me and I'm thinking, wow, okay. Craig Wolf is the president. That's what I was thinking. But okay, how can I help you? So, and she asked, like, well, what do you do for the public? And I really thought about, we actually need to do something. And by having the Maryland Homeownership Expo and Maryland Realtors putting it on, the public will think, wow, I need to come and speak to a realtor. Because if you look around the country, there are expos and fairs and so forth going on, But here in Maryland specifically, I couldn't find anything. I mean, clearly you have nonprofits that'll have things, but I want this to be on a big scale, you know, and at that point, that's the first thing. The second one is C2X Challenge, which I know you're passionate about, Shamika.
Yes.
One of the challenges you gave us with Prince George's, and I applaud you because on a national level, you took home the prize for involvement. I mean, that was what, $5,000 for the association?
We received a $5,000 grant for our participation. Yeah.
Right, $5,000. So Prince George's County Association of Realtors, with Shamika's leadership, helped get a $5,000 grant. Well, on the state level, various organizations, you can literally get a grant as well. And so what I want to have is an actual challenge amongst all of the other associations. Now, that's not to say Prince George's still won't compete. So, I mean, I don't know, y'all. With that being said, you got a lot of competition, but I want us to do a challenge with all of the other local associations in Maryland so that they can compete for $5,000 and then hopefully help the state to get that as well. So that's the number 2. Number 3, which is pretty in my wheelhouse and my love, is communications. We really need to expand and build upon our social media presence. But when I say that, I mean, some people will say, oh, you know, subscribe to YouTube, or let's, you know, become on Instagram or Facebook. But we have to give people a reason, and the content just really needs to be improved so that people have a reason. I mean, there's no reason why we have less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube when we have nearly 30,000 realtors. Like, why do we have less than 1,000? Because our content isn't appealing to enough people that they feel like they should subscribe or come back. I mean, you know, I'm sure you have YouTube, I have YouTube. Now, anytime an individual realtor can have more YouTube subscribers than an association, that's a problem. So, you know, TikTok, everybody, I mean, that's going to be passe at some point. Reels, there's things that we are just not doing. So that's what I want us to be able to do. And then, did you have something?
To piggyback off of that last thing, well, actually, go ahead.
Okay, and the last thing is to continue something that had started years ago and that Craig Wolf, our current president, initiated again after the pandemic, is the roundtables. For us to continue doing the roundtables, the regional roundtables, actually getting out, visiting with our members, hearing what they would like for us to do, what's going on in their community. So I want to continue to engage, because part of our strategic plan is engagement, not just with our members, but also with the consumers. So those are the 4 things to me that will actually meet that goal of the strategic plan.
I think that with, you know, the initiatives that you just discussed, that we will have lots of content to put on YouTube and increase our social media following, because it's information of substance. And like you said, that communication portion is missing. And I would say that we have picked up a lot of interest during this pandemic, because it was a lot easier for people to log on virtually and become more involved. And so those roundtable meetings that we had brought forth a lot of members. There was a lot of information. And plus, you got a lot of people out that were tired of the Zooming and being Zombies. So I just think continuing that.
But they actually could get dressed, you know, that's not just from the top up, right?
Exactly. So I think what you're saying is going to definitely increase our membership involvement and impact the professionalism in our industry. So I'm looking forward to supporting you in all that you bring forth in this upcoming year. So we're closing in now, but I do have another question for you, and some closing remarks I'd ask for you. So before you close out, I just want you to discuss the importance of having membership reflect a population in our rich and diverse pool of members. Like, how important is that?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's extremely important. I mean, one of the things as far as the DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee that we have, having someone from that committee on the executive committee is really important. And if you look at the state of Maryland, there's very few states where you have an ocean and you have mountains, okay? Like literally, where you have everything in between. So diversity, equity, and inclusion to me also means involving other members from all around the state. Because at one point, people would say, well, I can't really get involved because, the meetings are in Annapolis. So we wouldn't have that diversity from someone from Ocean City or from Garrett County or whatever. So to me, we need to look at everything, cultural, ethnic diversity, everything. And so it's extremely important, especially because of having a state that's so diverse, is to have membership involvement that's diverse as well, so that people have different perspectives, they have different ideas and suggestions. And so I want us to continue, especially when it comes to the committees, to get involvement. I mean, we have people who were involved that never wouldn't have gotten involved, but because we're doing the hybrid meetings and so forth, and we do plan to continue, and the committee selections are coming up to an end soon. So I invite everybody who hasn't thought about signing up to become involved.
Well, Yolanda, you have shared a wealth of information with us here today, and I've had the experience of having you as leadership and guiding me and tapping me on both of my shoulders and even touching me. And so I think through that, I've received great benefits. I'm looking forward to your leadership, and I'm looking forward to everything that you have ahead for us. In closing, I'd like you to just leave us with a few words of what your 2023 is going to look like for our membership.
Well, anybody who knows me, I am high energy, okay? I mean, I'm high energy. I want, excitement. I want engagement. I want people to feel like, hey, they can pick up the phone. They can call me, leave a message. Although, Shamika, you figure I should see that I missed your call, but text me or whatever, so that I will get back to you, because I want so many people to basically follow me, and I'm going to be tapping a number of people on the shoulder, because what I want is for when I become a former president, some of the people that I tapped, hopefully they will decide to step up in leadership at Maryland Realtors. And that would be I would just love to see people that I have helped, that they come along, because I have so many people who've helped me. That's what I want to do as far as give back. And one thing I'll leave you with is a motto that I have lived by for a long time, is be all you can be and more. And to me, it's the and more. So when you think you've done all that you can do, you can still do a little bit more.
That is so profound. So thank you, Yolanda, for joining us here today. We will be celebrating you really soon. I'm not sure if we are dropping that date now, but if you'd like to share that date with us so that everyone has that written in stone on their calendar, written in stone, that, we'll all be there for you.
Okay, Friday, September the 30th is the date of my installation. And for those who know, and they see this purple background, that's just a little bit of a hint that it's going to be special, because the Ravens I'm a big fan of the Ravens, and it's going to be at M&T Bank Stadium.
Wow, that's big. That's big.
Yes.
Very nice venue.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to celebrating you on September 30th at the Ravens Stadium. It's an evening installation, from what I hear. It's an evening.
Yeah, it's an evening, elegant installation.
No, hence the word elegant. You all know how Yolanda represents herself, so don't show up any less. Well, thanks again, Yolanda. Have an amazing day, and we'll be talking to you soon.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.